Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments. We have another special guest. What a hilarious lady! I've just had a blast talking to her, getting ready for this interview. Michele VanDusen. She's a comedian extraordinaire. So welcome, Michele. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your projects and what you're doing.
All right. Well, thank you. So, a little bit about myself. In the words of June Colson, I'm a little bit 5 foot. So, the projects that I'm working on right now, June Colson and I have started a podcast that will be airing out pretty soon. It's called Laugh Support, and it's just two comedians talking about how to continue in clean comedy, who's your laugh support, who's helped you along the way, name some crazy moments in your life and that kind of thing. Um, about me, I used to teach at an elementary school for several years. I'm a mother of four boys. Usually I say I have five boys. Four I gave birth to, the oldest one I married uh, because, husbands. Um, and we're almost at empty nesting. We're like so close at the empty nest because our youngest two are in college. One is actually graduating in May, so super soon we're gonna have a college graduate in our family. He's graduating as an engineer, which is really cool. And I'm at my house, and I bring energy and support and encouragement to anyone that wants to hear. Anybody that wants to hear. So, what can I do for you today?
I think about that empty nest. We have two children and eight grandchildren, but that whole hopes and dreams of graduating and leaving the home as if they're not coming back, right? So
Yeah, actually, he's graduating and then he's going to be moving in. Because he goes, Mom, I want to move and have my own place, but I want to use wisdom. So I want to kind of save some money before I just go do that. So can I stay here? I'm like, that's fine. And when COVID hit, I actually became overnight, I became a frat house mom because he had to come home and he had to bring some friends because they were working on a senior project and they had to quarantine at my house. So, frat house mom, like what do you do then, right? Like I'm like, okay, we got to keep this, partying clean and fun and happy and healthy. So, you know how like most frat houses have like all these drinking games? Well, I went ahead and I set up beer pong, but instead of beer, I use wheatgrass juice. Ah,
hey,
yeah, because I wanted them to be healthy through COVID. And then, like they would play the Jenga game. Have you ever, the Jenga? It's the wood pieces. Apparently, in colleges, they'll write on there like, "Oh, take a shot." You know, it's just like a drinking game. No, not in my house. Mine was like when they played, it was like take a shower, put on some deodorant, get some more vitamin C. Like that was how we played. And got those kids healthy and happy and right back to college. Get out of my house.
gotta be creative, don't we?
We did. We had to be creative. So uh, but
You
that
know,
yeah,
I was talking to a comedian the other day, and children is just it was what we call material. You just
yeah.
keep a notepad close by and keep writing, don't you?
Yes. Oh, yes. Definitely. You have to. Um you have to because you can turn around and if the house is noisy, then things are good. But if it gets quiet, something's happening. So you got to sneak in and see what they're doing because if something's quiet, I've had my kids have written all over the walls. I've had them swimming in the toilet. I've had, like when they were little bits, they got into everything. I've had them, drag the dog like into the shower and start giving the dog a bath, which was a great thing. But they needed some instruction on how to do that properly. And the poor dog is just like, "Ooh." help. So it's been an interesting ride, and I'm so excited how my kids are now being the men, the men of God that they're supposed to be. I love that. I love how they've, we've never kept them, I've never made them, oh, what is that word? I've encouraged them to play outside, to get in the dirt, to climb things. My husband was a carpenter, and so I've come home from working at the school, and my kid will be up on the roof. I'm like, "What are you doing?" "I'm helping dad." I'm like, "You're 5. You're at the top of the ladder." And it was fine. It was good because God got them, and it helped them focus on what they want to do when they grew up. So it's been a ride, a total ride.
Speaking of rides and God having us, during this time of COVID-19,
Yeah.
what what have you heard from God? What are some lessons that you've heard and that's been some important things that within this journey that you've heard you have?
One of the things, right at the very beginning, people were talking about, the new normal. Oh, we got to get used to this new normal. And what kept sitting inside me was, no, it's not the new normal. As a Christian, we should have already been spending our time in our quiet place, in our closet, praying and seeking his face. So, for a Christian, we shouldn't, there's no reason for us to be worried about what's happening or things like that. So, it was really, he's just talking about just standing firm in our faith, getting deeper into knowing who he is, and actually learning how to divide the truth of the word and then what is being sold as truth. Because media that they keep putting on, like, this is the truth, this is the truth, this is the truth. And then you turn around and, oh wait, actually no, this is the truth. And it can get very confusing if you're cycling and focusing on, if you're feeding yourself, those things. So if you stay focused in God and stand firm, and that's your normal. It's not your new normal, it's just your normal. So
Well, one of my favorite sayings, and I say it quite often on morning moments, is that God knows our heart. It's up to us to hear his voice.
mhm,
And so often we're so busy, and this is what COVID-19 has caused a lot of us, is caused us to stop and listen to what God has for each and every one of us in every one of our talents, in our skills and things that God's gifted us with.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. And I've noticed that at the very beginning, and people are still doing this, they're searching, they're trying to fill that empty void, and so they're going to entertainment, they're going into, binge watching and things like that. Well, let's shift that focus a little bit. Let's binge watch the Bible. Let's binge watch reading it. Let's, binge watch our time in his presence. And I love the fact that the churches had to now come up with a new way of ministering. And what has that done? It's actually set up the church to reach more people, and I love that we have that capability where as before, it wasn't even the radar. It was, you got to bring them in, you got to bring them in, you got to bring them in. And now it's, we got to bring them in and reach. It's both ways, which I love that.
I'm going to place your website and information in the comment section so people could get a hold of you, find out where you're performing, what you're doing as in the future, but
Mhm.
so that we can stay connected. I always encourage people to pass this message on to others, pass on this interview either through Facebook or through YouTube, and get the message out, get this positive message out in these changing times. Is there any, in the next few seconds, is there any closing comments or thoughts that you have for us?
Oh, wow. Few seconds. I don't have few seconds. I need more time. And that's the thing. People are always wanting time, and God is the author of our time. And we all have the same amount of time. So it's how we set our priorities. So, how are you going to set your priorities today? Are you going to seek Him early? Are you, let's say you're spending, what if you're spending your time and your wheels focused on the negative, negative, negative? You need to shift that and then now start focusing on the positive. What if this could be? What if this could be? And how does that go with the scriptures? Here's Deuteronomy 6:15. The Lord your God will bless you in all the work of your hands, and your joy will be complete. So you have to be working,
Oh,
and he will bless.
what a beautiful closing thoughts. Absolutely. Michelle, thank you for taking your time, and thank you for listening to Morning Moments. And like I said, pass the message on. And may God richly bless you this morning to whatever He has for you today. Thank you all for joining us today.